Hi, I have another book for Indigenous Heritage Month. This book is called Encounter, and it is written by Brittany Luby, who is a member of the Anishinaabe tribe, and illustrated by Michaela Goad, who is a member of the Tiglit tribe in Alaska. So let's read about this encounter. Sun rose to light all creation. He woke seagull and mouse from their nests. He coaxed mosquito from a long blade of grass. He chuckled as crab retreated inside her shell. When the coastline buzzed with life, Sun woke up, the legged, with a burst of light. The two-legged being human. This is Fisher. He tried to shoo away Sun by wiggling his toes, so Sun tickled Fisher's knees. Fisher rolled onto his belly. Sun persisted and gently warmed Fisher's neck. Fisher woke at last to welcome the day ahead. I will paddle to waters thick with mackerel, he said. Fisher turned his canoe, loaded his nets, and pushed into the ocean. This is Sailor. He came from far away. He tried to block Sun by pulling a cap over his eyes. Sun peeked through the fabric knit with love. Wake up, Sailor, Sun whispered. At last, Sailor smiled. Today I will explore unknown lands in a new world. Sailor lowered a boat from the ship. He rowed towards shore. So here we have our two characters. One is a sailor from France, and the other is a First Nation person who lives in what we now call North America. The sun had not traveled far when Fisher and Sailor paddled into the same bay. Fisher knew the bay like the curve of his fingernail, but he did not know Sailor. Am I dreaming? Fisher thought. He rubbed his eyes. The sailor remained. Sailor was puzzled too. Perhaps these lands are not so new. Both Sailor and Fisher hesitated, but the tide did not pause. It nudged them inland. Encouraged, they pulled their boats into the rocky shore. With his canoe secure, Fisher greeted Sailor. Kwee. Fisher watched Sailor's eyes open wide like jellyfish. He speaks differently than me, Sailor thought, but he replied, salutations. Sailor watched Fisher's forehead wrinkle like an earthworm. We do not sound the same, Fisher thought, but he waved cautiously at Sailor. You are not so different, squawked Seagull, who flew overhead. You both cast long shadows. Sailor tried to explain his journey across the water by drawing in the sand. As Sailor sketched, his wool cap fell to the ground. Fisher laughed. He imagined Lobster had leapt off Sailor's head to scramble to the ocean. The wind lifted Fisher's hair. Sailor chuckled. He thought Fisher's hair looked like a horse's tail. You have much in common, Mosquito Buzz. You both taste delicious. Because mosquitoes like to bite humans. Sun now sat directly overhead, and Sailor was getting hungry. His stomach grumbled. Sailor pulled sea bread from his pocket. He gnawed at the edge before offering it to Fisher, who took a bite. I would rather chew wood, Fisher thought, and he returned the sea bread. Fisher offered Sailor a handful of sunflower seeds. Sailor popped them into his mouth. I would rather eat pebbles, he spat, peppering the ground with the unopened seeds. Fisher laughed. You must crack open the shells. Wordlessly, Fisher taught Sailor how to reach the heart of the seed. Mouse was grateful for their crumbs. Lucky me, Mouse said, a feast. Sun blazed west. Sailor saw sweat beating on Fisher's chest. Does he not burn? Sailor wondered. He's almost bare. Fisher watched sweat race down Sailor's temples from underneath his cap. Is he not boiling? Fisher wondered. He's heavily dressed. Fisher pointed at the waves and Sailor beamed. Together, they jumped in. Crab woke briefly to admire the bow swimmers. What fine figures, Crab thought. They each found a shell to suit them. Sailor and Fisher returned to shore where whistling in the bay alerted them that 2 beluga whales had come to play. Fisher whistled back, Sailor too. They chased the whales along the shore. Good game, you make a strong pod, the belugas bellowed and disappeared beneath the sparkling waves. Before sun fell, Sailor and Fisher parted with a sleepy smile. Fisher set up camp. He unrolled a cedar mat under his canoe. Fisher placed tobacco into the fire. He prayed for another friendly encounter and lay down to rest. Sailor returned to the ship. He pulled his straw mat onto the deck. Sailor wished on a star for fewer chores and another chance to meet Fisher before the long journey home. They both were wishing to see each other again. They enjoyed each other's company. Moon watched Sailor and Fisher fall asleep. She shone on their 10 fingers. She shone on their 10 toes. Moon listened to their 2 hearts beat. Ba-boom, ba-boom. She heard the beauty of all living things. Though they are different, they are also similar. All humans are. This book ends with an artist's reflection about how the author came to write this story, and also a historical note, because this story is a work of fiction, but it is inspired by a true encounter between Jacques Cartier, who was a French explorer, and someone from the Stadacona tribe, which is in like the Canadian area. And at first they had a pleasant encounter and things were pleasant for a while, but then things didn't stay pleasant because Cartier took 2 Stadacona men and brought them to France to show them what it is like in North America. But he removed them from their homeland and their family. It ends on this note, which I like to read. While we must reckon with this violent past and hold it into our While we must reckon with this violent past and its hold on our present, the future is uncharted. May we learn from our history and take the opportunity to map a better future. So we can have these positive encounters with one another if we look for our commonalities and the things that make us similar and the same, that we're all people. I hope you enjoyed this beautiful Indigenous story, and I hope you're having a great day. Love you. See you soon.